Let's get a.
You're getting a glare there.
Getting a little zoom in here. Okay.
You want to close the curtain a little or be less glare?
Yeah, that might help a little. You're a good grip. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. That good ambient light from the front there. Okay. We're here today on October 22nd, 2023 with Aaron Lain and his wife Heather. And we wanted to talk a bit with Vernon about his brother.
About Aaron? He was a pretty good guy. You know, he's a master mechanic, worked on everything, helped anybody and everybody out. Even if he didn't like them, he helped them. You know, he worked from the time he woke up to the time he fell asleep every day. And, you know, mechanicking on cars, working on farms, feeding animals, working on people's homes, just anything and everything. He'd drop what he was doing to come help anyone. You know, whether he just met him or he's known him his whole life. He'd drop whatever he was doing and help them. And, you know, he had his faults, but he was a good dude.
Is he your older brother or younger brother?
He's my younger brother.
Younger brother.
1 year, 1 week younger than me.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
TV of the family.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
you know, he was, is, and always will be my best friend. Him and I, since, you know, we were little kids, we were stuck together, you know, everywhere. I moved to Idaho, he moved with me. I moved to Utah, he moved with me. I was fixing to move to Kentucky, and he was planning to go there with me too. He'd have been there before my wife. We were always together. No matter where we were, we talked every day, no matter where we were. And you know, I miss the dude, but he's a good guy.
When did you both come to Utah?
Do what?
When did you both come to Utah?
Oh, we grew up in Draper from like '86 on.
Okay.
So, you know, we were both born in Santa Rosa, California. Lived there until I think he was 5 and I was 6, and then we moved to Utah. And then we'd moved around back and forth to California our whole lives and whatnot. And then I was 18 and I moved out to California. He followed me. Then we moved to Idaho back in 2001, wasn't it? 2002. We moved to Idaho, and he actually introduced me to my wife back in 2002. And from there he moved back to California. Then we ended up moving to California, and we moved back to Utah, back up to Manila, like a year later, 6 months later, and then he followed us to Manila. And from Manila we went to Salt Lake. He went with us to Salt Lake. You know, everywhere I've gone, he's gone. He came to East Carbon because I was here. So.
But when was that?
He moved here in 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when. Well, we were here in 2019. He came 2020.
Yeah, the first year, 2020.
Okay.
First month of 2020, he was here, and been here ever since.
Neat. You have mentioned a background that you've done a lot of heavy equipment and other things, but you mentioned you'd been in volunteer fire work as well as EMT work. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a volunteer fireman for Manila, Utah. You know, I've had all my first aid CPR certificates. I've done laps, but you know, I've been a heavy equipment operator and a mechanic my whole life too. You know, I worked oil field, construction, coal mining, mechanicking. You know, it's pretty much.
Your brother was doing similar work with.
He did the same work. Yeah, I actually
Okay.
got him into the oil field. I broke him out. I was his first driller. You know, he worked for me for quite a few years in the oil field. Then you know, he went into mechanicking on cars, and you know, that's where he enjoyed that work. He loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more than I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I really love it.
In terms of, that's a lot of rough work sometimes. Did you or he ever get hurt?
I've smashed my kneecap. I broke my back.
Mm-hmm.
Him, you know, he's broke his fingers, broke his hands. I think he broke his arm once, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know he dislocated his shoulder, or broke his collarbone right over here at Sunnyside Park on a three-wheeler.
Uh-huh.
So, one of my three-wheelers.
Right.
But, yeah, most part, no, we didn't get hurt that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, his and your history with, say, medication, it would be of interest in how people deal with pain. How did he deal with pain? How did you deal with pain?
We don't. I still don't take medication for pain. I just deal with it. You know, we're of the generation, you know, if your leg gets cut off, you walk it off.
Okay.
Didn't take pain meds.
Okay.
We don't. I don't like it. I don't like medication like that.
Okay.
You know, and at the time my brother passed, and he didn't believe in it. He didn't like it either.
Okay.
He didn't want no narcotics or nothing else like that. As a matter of fact, it's on his medical records at the hospital that he requested no narcotics for any of the pain, and he was in some pain. With blood clots in his lungs.
Yeah.
He cut off the tip of his finger on my son's dirt bike, lifting it up in the truck, and he wouldn't take no pain meds for it. Not even aspirin. He just.
Okay. In terms of his medical condition with his lungs, explain how that happened and how you all helped him in that regard.
Well, he got the blood clots in his lungs from having pneumonia. He got pneumonia December of last year.
Okay.
And he got sick and ended up with pneumonia December of last year. But what led to that is we believe we went elk hunting back in September of last year.
Yeah.
And we took a friend of ours' horses, Kim Bunn, took her horses, and they're so barn sour that they didn't want to move. And Aaron was trying to get, I think it was Big Mama, to move, you know, and she stomped on his foot. Well, he ended up with a big bruise around his foot. It wasn't broke or nothing, just internal bruising and whatnot. And the doctors told him when he got the blood clots in his lungs that that's probably what caused them, is the blood clots, you know, went up from his foot into his lungs from being stomped on by a horse, and then the pneumonia didn't help him out. But he had a couple blood clots in there, about the size of a grain of rice. And, you know, he was taking medication for that, getting that thinned out. And he also had congestive heart failure. And that is, you know, to be honest, you know, due to drugs and hereditary. My dad died from the same thing, congestive heart failure. You know, the two of those he did have, but he's on medication for it. And I've even got paperwork from the hospital that says that the congestive heart failure was getting better with his medication. And so were the blood clots in his lungs. So he was just still fighting that.
Was there any change in the medication, like blood thinners? Because sometimes that deals with blood clotting. If you change and they have to adjust the dosage. Any treatments that he was
they had him on a handful of medication for the blood clots and congestive heart failure.
Okay.
It's
Lasix.
They had him on blood thinners. They had him on a little bit of everything. You know, I've actually got a list of them right in there.
I've seen the Tioga where that was parked at your house that apparently he was living in when he was his lungs were filling up with blood and or liquid, and created the incident that was part of this video. You told me that the hospital did tests and he was drug clear in terms of what?
Illicit drugs, illegal drugs.
Okay.
I had asked the doctors if they had tested him for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because I was a skeptic, and I don't have nothing to do with drugs, nothing else like that.
Mhm.
And, I asked them if they would drug test for it, and they did. They did a full panel drug test on him. They tested for everything, and the doctors even put on paper was drug free. He was
Okay.
not on any kind of illicit drugs.
Okay.
The only drugs he had in his system were what they prescribed him for his heart and his lungs.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's
So he was living at the Cedar Crest RV Park on Highway 123 in East Carbon.
right.
What happened?
Well, that morning he was having a hard time breathing, and he had called for an ambulance, and one of his friends, and he went and got, not him, but one of his friends went and got the manager of the trailer park, that Jessica Olson.
Okay.
She went down over there to the trailer and was sitting with him while he was sitting in the door waiting for the ambulance to show up.
How long ago, or what month was that?
That was back in May. It was
May.
May 15th.
Of 2023.
Yeah, of 2023.
Okay.
He called it they called it like 6 or 7 in the morning. I'm not sure the exact time they called the ambulance. But he was sitting there waiting on it. Well, Sammy, he pulled up in his police cruiser and went over talking to Aaron. And he told Aaron that, oh, you're just having an anxiety attack. And Aaron's like, no, I'm not. I need to go see the doctor. You know, I can't breathe. And he told him, just, calm down, you have an anxiety attack. And Aaron's like, no, please, I need to go see the doctor. Well, after that, Red Ford pulled up with 2 EMTs in it. I don't know who they are, but 2 EMTs get out, and Sammy walked over to them as they were getting out of their truck and told them, oh, it's just an anxiety attack. And
So they used the word panic and anxiety, 2 separate police officers?
Sammy, that's what he was telling me, he was just,
Okay.
kind of
Now, the
anxiety
ambulance is often driven by Phil Holt, who is a sergeant and a police officer, as well as an EMT.
attack. Right.
Yeah, okay.
And, when the EMT showed up, Sammy told me, he was just having an anxiety attack. They didn't do nothing. Aaron did have his oxygen machine on, cannulus in his nose, but when you're out of breath, you're not breathing through your nose. You can't.
Yeah.
So they took their time. Sammy de-escalated this situation. Well, the ambulance showed up with Philip Holt driving it, and Sammy walked around and he parked 30, 40 feet away from
The
where my
RV
brother
door.
was.
Could he
Well,
have parked right next to the door?
Oh, he could have pulled right there next to the door, yeah.
Yeah. So
And-
often police will try to see if the coast is clear, nobody's going to shoot anybody, and,
Right.
and then they have the ambulance come up. But in this case, the ambulance stayed about 40 feet away.
Right. Yeah, he
Okay.
parked like 30, 40 feet away from the motorhome where my brother was sitting.
And he's sitting in the doorway steps of
Yeah.
the Tioga.
Yeah, it was a 77 Dodge motorhome, a Toyota.
Okay.
He was in the doors at the back of it, and the back of it was closest to the road. Well, and my brother was sitting there. Well, when Sammy went over and told Philip, he's just having an anxiety attack. It's not a big deal. Well, they didn't get out, the EMTs that were there already, they didn't do no vitals on him. They didn't get the gurney out. They didn't get him oxygen. They gave him no care.
No first
the
aid.
whole time my brother's begging, please, I need to go see the doctor. I need to get to emergency room. Please help me. I can't breathe. And they were just milling around for like 20 minutes.
I don't think they even got 10 feet from him.
Yeah, and my brother, he gave, he's like, listen, I got to go to the doctor. I'm getting there one way or the other. And he got up and he walked from his motorhome to the ambulance and climbed in the ambulance himself. And that's where I'm told he ended up having a heart attack. That's what gave him the heart attack, because he couldn't breathe.
Now, you know all this information how?
From the video that Jessica Olson.
This is a Ring video security camera,
Yeah, her
full
security.
color with sound.
Full color with sound.
And the Ring video was about how far from the Tioga, do you think?
60 feet.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you can hear the voices faintly on this.
Right.
And I want to get this for the record. Because of your heavy equipment work, your hearing isn't as what percentage of, say, Heather's?
I'm deaf in one ear and the other one's broke.
Okay.
I can't hear. I'm 30% deaf in the other, and I think 25% deaf.
Okay.
Yeah,
So on this ring video, Heather, who has full hearing capability with you, can identify everybody on this ring video and narrate what's going on.
Yeah.
right.
Okay, and you can tell what persons, by pointing to them, who's saying what.
Right.
Okay.
Now there are quiet spots in the video too, where
Sure.
and it's kind of just you can hear the birds chirping and the dogs barking.
Yeah.
But,
Well, that's part of the story too, is these long gaps of no care.
right.
Okay, and that would be important to know. I'm going to pause the record here while we set this up, unless you want to add some commentary before we actually examine that.
I was going to say, even with this video, Jessica Olsen, she's got the video. She was right there with my brother this whole time. So, and she can contest word for word everything that was said. And she told us that she'll write it out. She's a witness to it.
Okay, well, please ask her to do that.
She was by his side when all this went down.
Okay.
Has she done that yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Could you call her and ask her to do it?
I could.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Now, she's no longer the manager of that particular RV park, although she still is resident there, as I understand. Okay. So, do you know how long she stayed employed doing that line of work versus other things she's
That
into?
I don't know.
Okay.
We didn't know her real good. We just met her. I personally just met her when all this took place with my brother.
Now, you were what part of the country when this incident happened?
I was here working at Lila.
Okay.
So,
In the mine?
yeah, I was out on the surface running a dozer.
Okay. That's a coal mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that has low temperature coal in it, from what I understand. That's could be interesting. Is there anything that you notice stands out about this video that people seeing it for the first time would heighten their awareness what to look for?
Honestly, I mean, you can see how unresponsive the EMTs, Sammy and Philip Holt, everyone that was there for an emergency situation, how unresponsive they were. They just didn't care.
From the body language and the
Body
sound you
language.
can pick up, you're concluding that. Okay. Did there seem like the police were telling the EMT to not do anything,
Yeah.
or the EMT wanted to do something and was told to stand down? What was the dynamic?
What I get out of watching the video and what I've heard is, even Jessica telling me that Sammy de-escalated a situation that needed to be escalated. When the EMT showed up and the ambulance showed up, he told him it's no big deal, he's just having an anxiety attack. So he de-escalated a situation that needed to be escalated.
It's an interesting term.
I'm pretty sure Sammy thought my brother was, like crying wolf or whatever, because he did not like my brother. They had
What is the background on that relationship before we would see this video?
There's a lot to it, really.
Okay,
My brother was dating a girl here in town. Sammy's pulled the gun out on my brother before because Aaron was trying to get a jack out from underneath the trailer. He pulled the gun out on Aaron, and Aaron trying to get the jack out because Sammy told him to leave the property. He was trying to get her blazer off.
Aaron's trailer was on this girlfriend's property, or what?
It was his girlfriend's trailer, but Aaron's
Okay.
truck was on the trailer. Blazer was on the trailer, and we were trying to get it off.
Oh, disconnect them.
So
Okay.
Aaron had the tongue of the trailer jacked up to try to get the blazer off so we can tow the blazer out.
Makes sense.
And well, she got mad. His girlfriend got mad or whatever. Told him, you need to leave. And Sammy's like, well, you need to leave. Aaron's like, I want my truck. She can't keep my truck. And Sammy said, well, it's on her property. There's nothing you can do about it. And Aaron's like, all right. And I was pulling in to hook up to my brother's truck to pull him out. And I come walking by, and Sammy had the gun out, pulled it out on Aaron. And Aaron's like, what are you going to shoot me for? Pulling the jack out? And Sammy's like, oh, well, I didn't know what you were doing. And then he pointed at me and told me, you need to leave. I said, you go ahead and shoot me, Sammy. I said, I will sue you personally and this city. I said, we ain't done nothing wrong. And I kept walking and doing what I did. And he put his gun back in the holster, and we ended up hooking my truck to my brother's and towing his stuff out of there. But, and I called Sammy on his, I'm not going to put up with it either. Mm-hmm. And what had happened even before that, was right out behind my house, my brother got in a fist fight with his girlfriend's husband. And a guy named Ryan. He had pulled the gun out here on my brother. Well, again, the cops were called. They showed up, and Sammy was threatened to arrest me because I took the guy's gun from him. Mm-hmm. I chased the guy down into his truck. I took his gun from him. I put it underneath the seat of my truck, and I let the cops know it's underneath the seat of my truck. I have not touched it. I just took it, put it back in there, and locked my truck. So they came up. I got it underneath the floor mat on my truck and gave it to him. Sammy wanted to give it back to Ryan and threatened to arrest me because I wouldn't shut up.
So much for de-escalation.
Yeah, and he tried to arrest my brother for the fist fight that ended up happening on that. Mm-hmm. Sammy, in my opinion and many other people's opinion here in this town, Sammy sticks up for the drug dealers and the drug addicts. And if you're not benefiting, patting his pocket, you ain't no good. So that's my opinion and many other people's opinion around this town.
And you don't use drugs, and neither did your brother.
No, my brother used to use drugs. He used to smoke a lot of pot. He went to prison for stealing pot back in, 2000 or 2001?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He ended up, stealing like 300 pounds of pot from a California state grow house. But he did go to prison for that. He did 3 years for it. And then he did another, year and a half, 2 years for probation violation, or parole violation on marijuana. So, he did go to prison for that. But my brother was clean. He had a past.
Was this interaction with marijuana, besides anything monetary, have anything to do with his medical condition, or did it predate that?
What do you mean?
Did this interaction, getting this marijuana, have anything to do with anti-inflammation or pain? Some mechanics don't like to use marijuana when they're working because it makes them too mellow and accident prone, but they're dealing with inflammation and pain. Was this incident prior to the time he got his foot stomped on?
Oh yeah, that was way before. That was years.
Okay, how young was he then?
Back then, he died at 40. He was probably...
He was about 28.
Yeah, 27, 28.
Okay. And in 2023, how old was he?
I turned 21 in 2023, right?
He was still 40. It was about a month and a half before his 41st birthday.
Okay, about a dozen or so years earlier. Okay.
Yeah,
So
he was born in 82.
Okay.
So he was what? Maybe 28, 30?
Okay. So he's otherwise been a hard-working guy from what you're saying.
His whole life.
Yeah. Why was he involved, for instance, with this grow house? Not that there's not plenty of them.
Yeah, he was, it was just, I guess, a quick buck or something. His girlfriend had cancer that he had out there.
Ah.
She was dying from cancer. And them two went in to get, this marijuana for a payday. They wanted money. Well, he actually if you look at the court records, the video from it all and everything else like that, she was the one calling the shots. She's the one that did. He listened to her. He took the blame for her. So with her having cancer, he didn't want her to die in prison away from her kids. He took the blame for her. And that is on record through the court system.
Okay.
So, you know, they did it for a payday to try to get her medication. And I believe she was using marijuana for her cancer as well.
Okay.
So she was terminal cancer. She died within 8 months to a year of him being in jail from that instance.
Wow.
So, and left her daughter to the system.
Hmm.
So, you know, he took the credit for her on that raid, and not raid, but taking the pot. And they did end up getting the marijuana back, but still, you know, the crime was done. So,
Crime against the state. Okay.
right.
Is there anything else, Heather? You knew Aaron. What would you say about who he was and his character, and how well did you know him?
He was my brother. I mean, I've been a part of his family for over half my life, and I was closer to him than I am my own brother. I know him better than I know my own brother. We started out hating each other, but these last few years, I mean, we've been best friends. And you know, to start out with, he was mad because I took his best friend from him.
Okay.
He made it very clear I wasn't welcome, and he didn't want me in the picture. But you know, he was always hardworking. I knew if I needed something, I could call him, and he would be there. He could make anything. He fabricated and welded everything. He had a gun that he was making that if he would have been able to film him shooting it, he had over $1 million contract waiting for him pending that video.
All he had to do was hit a target at 1,000 yards.
He was always working.
Interesting. In terms of getting along with, say, family, kids, dogs, what activities did you all do together?
Went camping a lot.
Fishing, hiking.
Four-wheeling. He would come when I was at work and pick up my daughter and take her to the park, and she loved it. You know, he'd pick up my kids and take them places and help them out anytime they needed it. And anytime they got in trouble and didn't want mom and dad to know, he was the one they called.
You have 2 teenage sons and a 5-year-old daughter, right?
3 sons.
3 sons.
And a 5-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And they all turned to him.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Is there anything that is sort of a celebration of life that was lost that you'd like to say each?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Is there anything in celebration of his life as a whole that you'd like to say before we deal with the last, half hour of his life?
I think, like Heather said, he fabricated anything, whether it be wood, metal.
So you're a problem solver.
Yeah, he's a problem solver.
Okay. One of the snippets that I saw of this video, he was basically telling Sam Leonard to F you, and then he started walking himself, unassisted, to the ambulance, and he collapsed in trying to get into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll go through that step by step, but in other words, he was still trying to solve a problem. His.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And before, when I was in Kentucky, he had called me, and like I said, we talked every day, no matter what. And he'd tell me, "Oh, well, I'm trying to find somebody to drive me back from the hospital because I drove myself here at 2 o'clock in the morning." He said it took me a couple hours because I was having a hard time breathing. I asked him, why don't you call the ambulance? And he flat out told me, well, if I call the ambulance, I'm just going to die. And he says, they ain't going to help me. They don't like me. I said, Aaron, that's what they're there for, is to help you. I said, they have to. Whether you got insurance or they like you or not, they have to help you. I said, that's what they're there for. I said, call the ambulance. Get a ride to the hospital. You get there quicker, and, you know, somebody will come pick you up. He's like, oh, I know if I call the ambulance, I'm just going to die. Well, the one time he did call the ambulance, he died.
Wow.
I believe Sammy killed him. You know, it's, you know, he didn't want to be dependent on people.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to leave this going in one continuous take here, even as we set up to see this video, and I can work it out that way. So basically, we're going to be relying on Heather for the audio narration here, and anything that you know about body language or anything else, please clue us in.
Yeah, let me make sure. Gotta turn my hotspot back on. My son's
Okay.
working on our
You gonna put
electric.
it up on that screen, or is it gonna be on this one?
Let's see. Can I can see if I can share it.
So what we're going to see is actually the ring tape,
Where's
right? That was taken?
Yes.
Yes, they're
Okay.
recording the
Where's the remote? I didn't even think about doing it this way.
Are you playing it off your phone?
I'm trying to. Okay.
Okay. Once you're set up, you can use your arm and finger to point to what you're seeing. Get us a copy of the actual tape later in its entirety. But here what's important is for anybody looking at this to understand what's going on. Turn the sound up as much as you can, I guess. And I'll start it from the beginning and then take it from there.
Okay. So that right there is Aaron's friend. He's watching for the ambulance, waiting on them.
And do you know the name of that friend?
I don't.
Okay. And the Toyota is off to the left,
Yeah, that's Aaron's motorhome right there.
and that's the Highway 123 behind there.
Yes.
Okay, so there's easy access all the way around that Toyota, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the name of Aaron's friend that was there waiting for the ambulance? No. No, okay. All right, see if you can find that out. So we could hear a truck going by. So, about what time of day do you think this is?
I can't.
Did it have a time code on it?
It does on the video on my laptop.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it's going to pull
All
up
right.
on here.
So he called about dawn, you said?
I believe right here is right around about 8:30.
Because I see the shadows there, and this is May. Okay.
So right now, it's right. 8:22 is when the video first started here.
Okay. Is that the same friend?
Yeah.
Waiting
still-
out by trying to flag him down?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the Cedar Crest RV Park at 123 Highway on the west side of East Carbon City. And this ambulance that's been called is a East Carbon City ambulance, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know if he called 911 or how he got a hold of him?
I believe he called 911.
Okay. So this ring,
So it's 8:25 now.
okay. This ring video is about 60 feet away, you say. Okay. So I'm counting on you to translate what you hear. And you can stop the video if you wish, but I'm going to keep recording to hear you and watch you point.
And there's Sammy pulling up right there.
Okay, this is Samuel Leonard, Chief of Police, East Carbon City. He's got lights flashing and he pulls up about a dozen feet away, okay? And that's the friend accompanying him,
Yes.
okay? And he's going to the door,
You can
which is
see-
on the
yeah,
far
that's-
side.
That's about right where the door is. That's where
Oh, thank you.
my brother is sitting right now.
And the door is open, from your
Yes.
understanding? Okay.
It's still going. It's just.
Okay. Any comments you want to make anytime? So Sammy appears to be talking with him. I don't see his feet there though,
No.
nor do we see a shadow. So it appears as if he's inside.
No, they stayed outside the whole time.
They did, okay. Another car going by. I understand if you stop the tape, it gives a time code as into the number of minutes of the video. Is that correct?
On her camera, it occasionally pops up with the time code.
Just does
Not
it
on my-
anyway.
yeah, not on my
Okay.
video.
All right, I'll look for that. All right. So
You can kind of see.
there's some
Sammy
feet.
moving.
Yeah, now I see feet. There's Sam, right? Yeah, that's him.
And while you couldn't hear it on the video, while he was standing over there talking to Aaron, that's when he started telling Aaron, "You're fine. You're just having a panic attack. You just need to calm down."
Why would Sammy ever say that?
Because he didn't want to do his job.
Okay, didn't want to do his job, all right? We've heard that from some others. Does things that he shouldn't, as commissions and then sins of omission here. Now, why is he that far away? Any reason you can discern talking to the friend?
I think he's talking to the friend and waiting for the EMT to show up.
Okay. So there's no first aid per se going on.
No.
Okay. That dog barking is on the videotape, correct?
Yes.
And that dog probably belongs to Jessica Olson.
Yes. And there's the first of the EMTs showing up at almost 8:30 here.
Okay. And this black pickup.
Yes. I
Okay.
believe it's maroon. There's not very good color on it.
Okay. Do you know who that EMT is?
No.
Does Vernon know?
No.
Okay.
Come on.
That one would be Jack Manchester or just one.
Vernon, do you have any idea who this EMT in the black or maroon pickup that just drove up?
It's a red Ford. My son's saying it's Jack Manchester.
Jack Manchester.
And you could hear my brother groan just then. And they walk away.
That's him puking.
So that's the EMT in his truck door.
You just hear Aaron say, "Help me."
Is that the friend out by the road or?
No, I
Or
believe
Sammy.
that's Sammy that walked out there.
Okay.
That's the friend. At the
Now
back.
there's somebody standing in front of the EMT there. Okay, is that Jessica perhaps?
Yeah, that was Jessica.
Okay, Jessica Olson, the manager of the
Yes.
Cedar Crest RV Park. Okay, what our time there?
8:32.
Okay, the ambulance arrives. It does not park near the Tioga. Are you zooming in? Okay, so we can see the ambulance and the guys behind it, but we do not seem to see doors open.
Yeah, it's her camera that automatically zooms in and out.
Oh, okay, so that's not you, that's the Ring video
Yes.
focusing on something. Okay. Movement, perhaps.
Yeah.
So we have a side door on the ambulance open,
Sammy right there walking to the motorhome again.
walking towards the Tioga. Okay. Now, the ambulance is driven by Sergeant Holt, and there is a second EMT there. Is that correct or not?
Two EMTs in the
Two
red Ford.
EMTs.
Philip Holt drove the ambulance, but you can hear my brother grasping for air right here.
That's what that is. Okay. It's hard to shout when you're in that condition.
There's
my brother.
Aaron.
So Aaron is now trying to walk to the ambulance. Somebody reached for a door. One of the EMTs, I guess. One EMT's going in the side door. One at the rear. Now they're moving towards him.
Somebody said no, he's not okay.
Yeah, it sounded like Jessica that was saying, no, he's not okay.
I see somebody on the far side of the EMT's pickup truck. Is that the friend still out there?
I'm not sure on that one.
Okay. What do you think is happening here from your looking at this video before? I see, I think Sam towards the back of the ambulance, popping out to the side part of him in view, but what do you think is happening here?
I believe at this point they're still trying to convince him that he's okay and doesn't need to go anywhere. And it's not until he loses consciousness that they finally decide that maybe they should leave the park. You can hear him screaming at him that he needs help.
So he's begging for care.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and they don't want to leave.
And that movement is the ring video?
Yes.
Okay. You have 2 EMTs, 2 police.
Yes.
I hear your brother Aaron. Frustrated plaintiff kind of voice.
Nobody's hurrying.
No, they don't move at all. And
Ah,
Slow walking, slow talking. So he's back at the Tioga. Do you have any idea why he's walking back there to get something? A bag?
no,
I don't see anything in his hands. EMT closing truck door. Now you said there was 2 EMTs in that truck?
I believe so.
Okay. And Phil Holt was driving the ambulance.
Yes.
Coal truck carrier. Keeping calm and cool collected in emergencies is a virtue, but sometimes it's a vice.
You stay calm and cool, but you get the work done.
Yeah.
And they're doing
Now,
nothing.
now, I'm not hearing your brother's voice anymore pleading. Are you?
No.
How far into the video are we at this point where we're not hearing him
We are
anymore?
about 18 minutes into the video so far.
Okay. Both EMTs seem to be with the ambulance. Now that's Sammy with his back to us, and he's talking to who?
I'm not sure. One of the EMTs, I believe. I'm not sure.
Could it be
which
Phil
one.
Holt, as distinct from, because I don't see any presence in the driver's seat of the ambulance. I could be wrong. Trying to identify that other person there. Door to ambulance is closed.
I believe now he is actually. Yeah, I guess that was Phil Holt. I believe when the EMT stuck his head out the side door there, I think that is when my brother collapsed.
Ah. Okay. Is it Phil Holt? At the EMT's truck. He closed the door there.
That was Sammy, because now Sammy's gonna talk to Philip for a second before he gets back into his own vehicle.
Okay, the ambulance is now rolling, with Phil Holt being the driver. Ambulance having to back up and turn around, okay. They were parked nose in at the public safety building, or but they seem nose out at the. Okay, that's the end of the video.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, do you have the medical records at the hospital?
Yes, I actually do, and I also got a list of his medication that he was on.
The records from that day are in the process of being sent to us. His mother had to request those.
Okay.
We should be getting those hopefully within a week.
Before they disappear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you sit over here? I'd like to ask you a few questions about the after mathematics here. Okay. Now, from what we saw, he went silent, he collapsed, then apparently went unconscious. At that point, to your understanding, what happened next?
What I was told by the hospital is that the ambulance that he collapsed, and they'd done CPR on him for 25 minutes.
In the ambulance.
in the ambulance. Then they got him to the hospital, and the hospital did it for another 10 to 15 minutes before they pronounced him dead.
Okay.
You know, it's, I can personally make that drive from here to the hospital in Price in less than 25 minutes, just not speeding real bad, but not paying attention to my speed. You know, at 70 mile an hour, I can make it.
Yeah, that route is 65, 70. Well, no, it's not 70. It's 65 is
Drops
what the
down to
posted
50
limits are.
Going through Wellington.
50 and 40 in Wellington, then it goes back up to 60 on the curve, and then to the ambulance, you could push it to 65 with sirens and stuff, lights going.
Yeah, ambulance push 65, 70.
Okay.
That's what I was told by the hospital personnel. They'd done CPR on him for 25 minutes in the ambulance, and then the hospital did CPR on him for another 10 to 15 minutes, and they could not get a viable heartbeat. So, and in the records, the medical billing and stuff like that he's gotten here, I've seen that they've gave him a shot of Narcan, which was unnecessary. He was not on drugs. I mean, his latest drug test that I've got here was 5/6 of 23. So that is
And the
7
date-
days, 9 days before
He died.
he died.
And the date that he died was?
5/15, May 15th.
Okay. We can video those in a minute. Anything else that the hospital, this is Castleview Hospital personnel, told you?
No, there's that they could not get a viable heartbeat.
Okay. Now you're calling them from Kentucky, and I
No,
assume.
no, I was here in Utah. I was at Price. I was at Emory County Coal working,
Okay.
running a dozer. Matter of fact, I had talked to my brother at 12 minutes after 8 o'clock. And I talked to him, I said, hey, what's going on? Like I said, we talked every day. He's like, oh, man, I'm having a hard time breathing, you know. He says, are you at work? I said, yeah, I'm working. I said, what's going on? He said, I'm having a hard time breathing. I got to call you back. I'm like, all right, I'll talk to you in a little bit. And we hung up. 10 o'clock? He's like, 10 o'clock, I got a call from Sammy. I'm sorry, your brother, you know, your brother has passed away. And my first question to Sammy was, you didn't shoot him, did you? And
Arg.
he says, no, he had complications with, you know, EMT, with the ambulance. He went to the hospital in an ambulance because he couldn't breathe. He was having heart problems, and he had passed away. He succumbed to, you know, is what he said. Now, I'm not sure the exact words, but I do know my first words for Sammy was, you didn't shoot him, did you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, but I had talked to him at 12 after 8. You know, he was probably on the phone with me while they were trying to,
Well, it was 10 minutes before the start of the video.
yeah, 10 minutes before the start of the video.
Okay.
I was on the phone with him. He'd called an ambulance. So
Okay.
he said, you know, I'm waiting on the ambulance. I'm having a hard time breathing. I got to call you back.
Now, from what we're looking at here, I'm guessing this would be wanton criminal negligence under color of authority. When I say that phrase, what does that mean to you from what you just showed us?
By what I've seen and what I know and what everybody said that was there, like Jessica, Sammy de-escalated a situation that needed to be escalated. He denied my brother help. They didn't give him oxygen, they didn't take vitals, they didn't do anything for him.
Of the 4 people there, what was the role you picked up on Phil Holt?
He was just a driver. As far as I knew, you know, I'm driving the ambulance. I didn't see him do anything in the video.
Okay.
I didn't see him do a thing. And being just a driver, not an EMT, maybe that's what he's supposed to do. But I know in all my training and everywhere I've been with medical personnel, being on a fire department and everything else like that, whenever there's an emergency and somebody can't breathe, your first case is to do vitals. You bring out the gurney, you get them oxygen, one way or the other.
Who's supposed to be in charge?
The EMTs. EMTs